Hey, everybody, welcome to live stream at the Upper Room. My name is Ron Strand. If you're tuning in for the first time tonight, the Upper Room, if you are not familiar with it, is a Christian event, a concert venue, concert ministry, if you will, in South Orange County, California. And we do concerts on a once-a-month basis outside the walls of the church. And it's a really cool kind of club setting. We've had the finest in Christian entertainment there in terms of singers, songwriters, bands, and comedians. And so if you're not familiar with us, look us up on the website, which is we don't need to say that anymore, right? theupperroompresents.com. That's theupperroompresents.com. And also, if you're watching tonight and you enjoy what you're watching, would you like us on Facebook? And if you do, what'll happen is when we have live streams, you'll be notified when we go live. And we'd love to have you do that if you would like us on Facebook. Also, this stream will be available in its entirety tomorrow on YouTube. And our handle on YouTube is The Upper Room Presents. That's The Upper Room Presents. Hey, if you would like to ask a question, and we would like you and encourage you to ask a question for Matt tonight, start typing those questions in. We'll get them in the comments. And we're going to take a lot of time tonight to spend time answering your questions, reading your comments, and it'll be a fun time. We're going to bring Matt in here in a second. But let's see here if I got anything else that I want to cover before we go there. Yeah. Oh, also let us know where you're watching from. And you can put that in the same body of your questions, or if you just want to let us know where you don't have a question, let us know where you're viewing from. It's so helpful for us to know where our viewing audience is from. So this week's guest, as you know, is one of the pioneering members of contemporary Christian music. He is a founding member of the iconic group Second Chapter of Acts, along with his sisters Annie and Nellie. And he's a renowned solo artist in his own right, and he's been doing it for a long time. Would you welcome our guest and my dear friend, Matthew Ward? There he is with his Upper Room hat. Love it.
Hey, man. How's it going? Doing well. How are you?
It's good, buddy. How are you? You've been staying healthy on this. You got a ball bearing there. Good.
Yeah, I have a little ball bearing. You never know when it can come in handy. Nice ball bearing.
Yeah, you and I have a little thing about ball bearings.
We have an inside world. Yes.
They're a precision thing, right?
They remind
perfectly
us
round. It's kind of the whole Trinity thing and or eternal. We won't even go there. But
yeah,
I'm glad to see that you have yours with you tonight.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hey, how have you guys been doing during this this COVID thing?
I keep forgetting to
I'm going to sit up a little higher here so I don't look like I'm down below you. How's that? Is that better?
That's wonderful. You look
there. Okay.
You have a nice color too.
Well, thank you. It's a nice hue. It's a pinkish hue.
There, now you can see me.
Yeah, there we go. You could also turn that hat around. It'll be kind of...
No, because I think I tightened it back up and it's going to have a goober point in the back.
Oh, you don't want a goober on there.
I don't want a goober.
Yeah, so, no goobers.
I'll just do
that's good. Yeah. You look good. You're a very handsome man. You look good.
Well, the years have been okay.
Okay.
Yeah. How have we been dealing with the COVID? It's been really bizarre, like it has been for everybody. I think one of the weirdest things is I hate wearing those stupid masks, man. I just breathe. I mean, I just can't breathe. I don't know how people do it. I've got a nice one. I've got an N95.
Oh, you got the N95.
Yeah, I've got. Come on now.
I've got the N96.
Yeah, well, there you go. But I always leave it at home. I forget it. I go into Home Depot and I get the stairs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The COVID shaming stairs. I went to Home Depot today too, and everybody had them on there, and I didn't.
Did you have to wait? Did you have to wait in line?
I did not. No.
Yeah. See, out here it's like they only allow so many people to encourage the social distancing. They count them as they go out, and they count them as they're doing that at Walmart here too now.
It's crazy. It's time to open up this thing, right? Are they opening up things in Colorado now?
They're starting to. we have a thing here called safer at home as opposed to stay at home.
Really?
Safer at home, but they're opening up some businesses, essentials with half staffs, that kind of stuff.
Well, what have you been doing with your time? You've been just sheltering away and
just absolutely nothing. It's been
really
no. I've been doing. I always have this incredibly long honey-do list. Maybe
you do
before, but yeah, I've done all kinds of stuff around the house. A lot of yard work. Was doing that yesterday. I'll be doing it tomorrow.
Well, you can't tell your wife that, hey, I've got something else to do today because you're home, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I got to go to work. Yeah. And what I do is, I can't do what I do. It's called off. So
exactly. Well, it's kind of hard to believe that Matthew Ward cuts his own grass. And you've got a big yard there.
Well, we've got a chunk of ground, but not much of it has grass on it. Thank the Lord. But there are a couple of smaller yards. Yes.
Do you have a sit-down mower?
Technically I do, but it's in my neighbor's garage.
Oh, you're one of those guys.
Yeah.
Hey, Mac, can I borrow your mower today?
Well, we kind of think we went in on it, if I remember.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I help with repairs and
okay.
Sort of,
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't go in on it. Maybe I just think I did. But
yeah. Well, does he ever give you a problem when you're wanting to borrow it? And he's going, hey, man.
Oh, I never borrow it.
No? Oh, you don't?
I've never been on it.
Oh, serious?
Dead serious, yeah.
So how do you cut the line? I know we're going far too long on this, but
like this?
You do with the push mower?
I do. I like the workout.
Oh, yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, you're a Harley rider, too.
I am a Harley rider.
Yeah.
Have
you been riding during this whole thing?
Day before yesterday was the first day I took it out this year.
Oh, really?
Yep. Because it was almost 80 degrees here in Monument, which is unusual.
Yeah, warm.
It was nice. I mean, it was so beautiful.
I bet that felt good to get out. And
it really did. Yeah. It was nice.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Hey, well, tonight what we want to do is we want to just kind of go, people know who Matthew Ward is. They, and some people might not know who Matthew Ward is, but I don't think there's very many of those people. But
it's surprising
if they are,
there are.
Yeah, and we don't see you as much as we did, perhaps back in the 70s, 80s, and even into the 90s. So I think people are anxious to see Matthew Ward and to hear a little bit of your story, and we'll kind of go into that, and and anywhere else it kind of leads. And I think we'll get some questions here. And by the way, folks, please send in your questions. We've got some already coming in here, and
I've got some. Can I post some questions?
You can post some questions. Do you have any?
No, not really. But if I do later, I'll just like Cindy from Ottawa asks.
Yeah. I could do that. Larry King. What is it? Peoria, Illinois. Come in.
Peoria.
There we go.
Yeah.
So the second chapter of Acts, it wasn't set out with the purpose to do this. It kind of fell together, and let's go back a little bit before all that. And you lost both of your folks at a very young age, and I'll let you pick it up from there.
Sure, yeah. I lost my mother when I was 10. And then 2 years later, 12, I lost my dad. There were still 4 of us, 9 children. Ouch.
9 children.
Yeah, I'm the youngest of 9 kids. So
you're the youngest.
I'm the baby. That, yeah, anyway, explains a lot. Yeah, it really does.
It does explain a lot.
Yeah, once you've met me, you get to know me. Yeah, he's the youngest of 9. For sure.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah, but it was a bizarre time because, like I said, there was still like 4 of us living at home. So my 2 older brothers, of course, they're all older, went to live with went to live with my brother and his wife. That's how it works. And so they stayed in Sacramento, which is where I was kind of raised for a while.
Yeah.
And then my sister Nellie and I, she's just right above me. We're the 2 youngest. We left Sacramento and moved in with my sister Annie, who's kind of in the middle of the 9, and her husband Buck. And that was like in 71, end of 70, 71, somewhere in there. And we moved to Los Angeles, lived in Hollywood, actually.
Oh, did you? Was that where Annie and Buck were living at the time?
Yep, that's where they were.
How did you deal with losing your mother at 10 years old and then losing your father 2 years later? Was that pretty tough? Obviously, it was tough on you, but
piece of cake.
Piece of cake just sailed right through it.
Whatever. Water on the back. No,
I mean, your world changed.
Oh, it was rough. My childhood was a bit different. I didn't have a lot of interaction with my parents when I was real little because my dad was gone working all the time, and my mom was busy doing whatever she was doing. So,
what kind of work did your dad do?
He was a house painter.
Ooh.
That's what he did mostly.
Yeah.
He worked. He worked for an Air Force base, doing something for a while in California. But mostly he did homes, interior, exterior.
Yeah.
A lot of work, man. The guy worked really hard.
Yeah.
Good worker. But any work ethic I have, which isn't much, I got from him. Yeah.
Well, Well, that generation, they exemplified good work ethics.
Yeah, they were tough.
Yeah. So your mom passes away 2 years later, and where was it your dad
passed away first?
Your mom passed away first,
and then my dad died.
And then so you're 12 years old. Both your parents are gone. You go to live with your older sister, and did you feel rebellious? Were you angry? What was your?
I didn't know what was up. I wasn't mad at God. I didn't know him well enough to be mad at him.
Yeah.
I didn't understand any of it. I was just a kid, but I viewed it like everybody has to die at some point. So I don't know. I just looked at things different from a very young age.
Yeah. A
real different perspective and take on things. But some of those changed as I got older. But when I was little, that's just how I looked at stuff a lot of times.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So you move in with Buck and Annie, you and Nellie, and you're 12 years old, and
Nellie's 14.
Nellie's 14, and
this is water, by the way. In case
is it?
Yeah.
It's just it's not okay.
It's just the interview gets like, I saw the guy.
If you start slurring your words, we're gonna have to do a check on that.
Oh man, that's funny.
So you guys move into Hollywood, and Buck and Annie, and how did the music thing start out?
That was an interesting time because we had a thing early on. It was the Tuesday night prayer meeting that we had at our house. So we had people all over the place from Hollywood come. So
were you a believer yet at 12 years old?
I became a believer, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't when I moved in with them. It took me about probably a couple of months. I just was watching these people at the church, and the way I was raised, that if I left that organization, you would go to hell. So I thought, well, if and they wanted me to become part of their deal.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, I better be sure of this because I don't want to rot in hell somewhere necessarily. I don't want to be a boo-boo.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So it took me about a month and a half just watching. And, why should I become part of this? I'm pretty happy the way I am. But then I realized, no, I had a whole being full of unrighteousness, even at that young age.
Really?
And I recognized it. And then I started to see that Jesus really had the only key to unlock that door to let that junk out,
Yeah.
And so I gave my life to him and said, Jesus, help me, man. I need help. I can't do this.
Now, were Buck and Annie already believers at this point?
Yeah, they were new Christians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, wow, at 12 years old, you came to terms with the crud in your life and the sin, and you made a decision very early.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did. Yeah, and it stuck. Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It stuck. You're still here.
I stuck. I still
You're still serving the Lord.
Yeah.
Praise God. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it is. It's wonderful.
And so when did the singing thing begin? What prompted that? Annie was already a singer in her own right. She was
before she became a Christian, she sang in a group with one of my other sisters and two other guys. And they had some notoriety, they did some commercial work. They had some airplay, but not a bunch. I think they were on Dunhill Records or something like that. and then when Annie gave her heart to the Lord, she realized I can't go this direction. This just isn't right for me. So she hung it up, and then it wasn't for maybe a year and a half, something like that, 2 years. Buck bought her a piano. She taught herself how to play, and Nellie and I moved in with them, and we just come home from school, and she'd be playing piano, and she's like, "Hey, listen to what the Lord gave me." We're like, "Okay, the Lord." We didn't know all the Christian terminology.
Yeah, sure.
We thought it kind of sounded like voodoo,
Yeah, right.
Weird to me, but because Annie calls herself a song receiver.
Yes.
Yeah, me, I write songs, but she gets
right.
out of the air,
right?
Which she does. That's why she can write 3 in the morning and 1 at lunch. And but so she would play these tunes for Nellie and I. We'd pull up chairs after school, and no group, no thought of being a group, nothing like that.
Right.
And we just started like singing with her, and I fell naturally into the tenor part, and Annie was singing the lead, soprano, and so Nellie sang the alto part, and we just kind of figured out parts. And I thought, oh, this is kind of fun. This is cool.
Well, you guys had no. Annie obviously was already singing, but did you grow up in a musical family where you guys sang like that and knew you had those chops to sing harmonies and sing those different?
I realized at a pretty young age that I could sing pretty well, and I didn't know that what I was doing was called harmony. I just knew it wasn't doing the part the guy was doing.
So you heard the harmonies, you just didn't know that you were singing.
I didn't know that that's what I was doing. Yeah, I'd hear major third, whatever, and I would just sing it. And Annie would take Nellie and I down to. We used to live near the American River. It's Rancho Cordova is a suburb of Sacramento, and we'd walk down there, and she would like throw songs at us, like Christmas carols and whatever. Here, now you sing this part, and that's the first time I ever sang counterpoint or any of that kind of stuff. I had no idea what I was doing, but I figured it out. It was very natural to me to sing that way. And I think Annie recognized that I had a pretty unique gift pretty quick, And I thought I was going to be a drummer. I had no interest in being a singer. I like playing.
Oh, really?
I loved playing pots and pans when I was a kid, man.
Did you?
That was the thing.
Did you ever get a kit and play on your own?
I did have a kit for a while. It was the studio's kit, so I didn't have.
Yeah.
But interesting story. Carrie Livgren from Kansas, many years ago, gave me a set of their drummers' drums.
No kidding.
Yeah, and it was played on one of their albums and one of their tours. This whole chrome Slingerland set of drums, and I still have it. Yeah, but
wow.
I haven't played in years, but I love to play. It's fun.
Yeah,
it comes natural.
You never played with the group though, when you guys toured.
No. I just sung.
You just sung.
I just sung, dude.
So you guys are sitting around the piano, and you guys are kind of finding your harmonies and finding your parts. And then, at what point did you guys say, "Hey, we might have something here"?
Well, I don't know that it was ever quite that way. It was more like people would hear us sing, and they'd be like, "Hey, would you like to come and sing at our coffee house?" We had like 3 songs, and we didn't talk. We're done, But so we started going out and singing and stuff. And I think Buck, he's a good business person. He started realizing, there's something here. So, yeah.
Well, and Buck was a radio DJ, was he not?
Big time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had people that you would know work for him when he was a radio, that went on to have really stellar careers.
Who would some of those people be?
Oh, what was the one guy? Casey Kasem, I think.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I think he worked for Buck for a while.
Really?
People like that back in the day. Everybody's dead, but
Dick Clark and Casey Kasem.
All those guys were.
Years just keep going by, don't they?
TikTok, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing.
So you put this together, and you're doing coffee houses.
We started doing a few coffee houses, writing more songs. Buck started. He went from being a DJ. He quit that, became an independent audio engineer, and started recording different artists. He actually recorded what was it? You're So Vain.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he recorded.
You mean he recorded that with Carly Simon? I mean, he was the Oh, really?
I think that was the song. It's a song that popular. Anyway, if I got the song wrong, whatever, it's the right idea. But I think it was that one. Yeah. And so he started doing, he was recording people like Ry Cooder and artists,
Yeah, sure.
Well, then he got into the studio one day and he was recording this guy named Pat Boone. And
Pat Boone.
Pat Boone, Love Letters.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, yeah, I just had a phone conversation with him the other day. It was really nice.
Did you?
Yeah,
he's a nice man.
No, he's really cool. Great. Anyway, that's a whole nother topic. But he heard us sing, and he really liked us a lot. He got us a deal with MGM Records.
Oh,
so we started putting a record together for them. Buck was again producing records, and a guy named Barry McGuire came to our house.
Sure.
Who wrote Eve of Destruction? Mm-hmm. He was with New Christy Minstrels. He was on the Broadway original production of Hair.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy, he was in the know.
Yeah, he was.
And so he wanted to do a Christian album, and there were 3 different producers he was going to talk to. One of them was Buck. So he talked to Buck, and Buck said, "You know what? You've got to hear my family sing." And
is that how Buck talks?
No, he talks like this.
Okay. I've heard Buck talk, and I don't think it sounds like that.
No, he doesn't. I'm just kidding. No, Buck just said you should hear my family sing. So, okay. and the typical Barry's heard it all. I'm sure, like, oh, the family. Here we go. Props,
yeah. Right.
It's gonna be so bad,
Yeah.
So and we were in bed. We were asleep, and they came upstairs, woke us up, and we're like, "Whoa, what's going on? What?" So, hey, sing that song that you and Annie and okay. And Barry's jaw just hit the floor when we got it.
Really?
He was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Well, that was the first thing we ever really worked on. We sang backgrounds on his first album called Seeds.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the album cover was shot in front of one of the windows in our house. So
was it really?
Living room, yeah, it's really cool. But so we went on the road with Barry after that. And that was really, really interesting because we were singing Christian music, but people didn't come to hear Barry because they knew him for Christian music.
Yeah.
They knew him for all the secular stuff.
Right.
They were kind of like, what? So the second chapter acts, so we came out and we sang a song, and I thought we did really great.
Yeah.
And no one made a sound. No one applauded.
Really? Where was this? Where was it?
Oh, I don't know. It could have been Sacramento. It could have been, I don't remember, somewhere.
It was a venue. I mean, where you?
It was a venue. It wasn't a church. Yeah. It was a secular.
Wow! And no applause at the end.
Yeah, because they were just in shock. I don't think they'd ever heard anything.
Oh, okay.
They were like dumbfounded. Well, what did we just listen to?
Right.
And after we got into it, a couple of 2, 3, 4 songs, then they started to applaud. But it was like, at first they were like, they didn't know what to make of it, which was kind of cool looking back on it.
Well, here you got this older sister and 2 skinny little kids that are standing up there and singing, and the sounds that are coming out of you guys are amazing.
Yeah.
So people were probably just in awe.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just they were dumbfounded. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so after singing with Barry and back up and doing that,
and then getting connected with Pat Boone and getting almost a whole record done. They got to the point where they realized we had a couple of singles actually on MGM.
Yeah.
That went top 10 secular in California.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. And a song called I'm So Happy and one called Jesus Is. That was our first one. I recorded that on my 13th birthday.
Really? Jesus Is went in. It
Jesus Is did well, but I'm So Happy, I think, got into the top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool song. Fun
and then it just exploded.
Oh, it just went crazy. Yeah, we started doing records. We recorded Easter Song. That came out a little bit later, like 74.
Yeah.
But, we had already been touring with Barry, and we toured a little bit with some really good friends of ours, Jimmy and Carol Owens, who were known for writing Christian musicals like Come Together and If My People. So we recorded Come Together in the studio and took that on the road. That was really one of our first live experiences was singing songs from that particular record. So fun times.
Yeah. And so you guys ended up touring all over the country, all 50 states.
Oh, yeah.
How many countries? 30, 40 countries?
Yeah. I don't even know. I know to date I've been to probably 53, but back then it was, 30 plus probably countries,
A second chapter of Acts concert was something to behold. I mean, it was an experience. It was it wasn't only music. It was there was ministry involved and prophetic words and just really an experience. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, that was interesting. You know, when we first went out, we were just scared kids. You know, nobody wanted to talk. Annie shared a little bit. No one else said anything. Annie wrote all the music. Those things all slowly kind of changed over the years. I started speaking more. I started giving the altar calls. You know, Buck did all that before.
Oh, he did. He would come up and do that.
Yeah, he would do that. And he goes, you know, Matt, you should really be doing this. I'm like, I don't want to do that, you know. But and it was fun. It was a really good experience for me. Learned a lot about the Lord, his character and stuff. But just to watch how those things all kind of evolved, how they started, was kind of interesting. Like I said, because we were just scared kids at first, and then we just sort of grew into different roles that were fun to watch over the years. So, you know, we did see a lot of very interesting things at concerts. We saw people delivered from demonic possession. I mean, I'll just call it what it is.
Yeah.
Some people say oppression because they don't want to step on people. No, this chick was possessed. Anyway, saw people get delivered, saw people healed of things, visible things, not just, I can hear now, okay, well, maybe you could hear before, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, something that you could really see.
See it, yeah.
Yeah, it was obvious.
Yeah, it was obvious. And so that was great. And that helped my faith, and I think it helped everybody's faith, those kind of moments that we serve a God that's living, cares for us, and listens to us, and is involved in what we're doing.
Yeah.
And so that was always, through all the hard things I've been through, just knowing that God really does, he is your breath. He's so close to you. And sometimes we lose sight of that, I think. Sometimes we just think that we're just stuck in our own little worlds and that God has lost our address. But there's so many times I can look back and go, God, you pulled me out of that. That was you that did that.
Yes.
And that's what's kept me going over the years.
Yeah.
People talk about faith and they lose their faith. That would be really hard for me to do, because I've just been hit over the head with it so hard that I couldn't deny him.
Well, I think what happens in you and I are pretty close in age, and as you've walked with the Lord for a while, sometimes it's looking back that you see God's hand. And you look back and you go, wow, he pulled me through that thing, and you see the lessons that you learned through it.
Well, yeah, and I think sometimes you even go like, wow, I'm glad he didn't answer that prayer.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah,
things that we wanted that didn't come to pass, that you can see, wow, that would have been a disaster.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you've had some. Well, we'll go there in a minute, but I wanted to just kind of finish off on some of the musical stuff. And then so you guys toured as a group until when?
1988 was our
88.
last.
And you started in 70.
Oh, technically. Probably 72, 3, right?
Yeah, well, you guys had some real formative years there as a group with the sisters. How was that traveling with your sisters? Was it you were the young whippersnapper? And
yeah, I was. Generally overall, it was okay. We got along pretty well. Nellie and I would have our fights from time to time, but we had one knockdown drag out, and that was the last fight we ever had. And that was tons of years ago. So. Yeah. Things just evolved. They do, so we're siblings, though. You know how it is.
Sure.
We know what buttons to push.
Yeah. Well, so. Nellie's a sweetheart. Nellie, if you're watching, you and Steve, I'm going to have you on one of these too. So, we could compare notes with Matthew.
Yeah. Everything Matt said was incorrect.
Yeah. Just to get everything, just to correct everything that you said wrong, right?
Yeah, right. Oh my!
And so you went to 88. You said 88. Yeah, and 88 was a long time ago now. It doesn't seem like it, but it was a long time ago.
It seems like it.
Does it to you?
Oh yeah.
Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. But it was a long time ago now. Mm-hmm. But you set out and you did you went on your solo career, and you came out with your first album.
Well, actually, I did three solo albums when I was still in the group.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. My first solo album came out in 78, 79.
Which one would that be?
Toward Eternity.
Toward Eternity, you were still with Second
Oh
Chapter.
yeah, for almost 10 years.
Okay, I guess I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I did that one. I did Armed and Dangerous, and I think Fade to White. I think all those three solo albums were the group we were still touring.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm
So
looking
I
at
would come out and start the second half and do a couple of my new numbers. Yeah. So people would wait for this guy Matt Ward. Hey, wait, that was the guy that was in the other group. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of
and
fun.
So you did some of those with
I did.
your sisters in the group.
Yeah.
You ended up recording a total of 9 solo albums.
9 solo projects.
Yeah. Wow. And Second Chapter, it looks like, based on my notes, you did about 15 albums.
Probably, yeah. I thought we counted one time it was like 23 or something.
Was it?
But 15 sounds good.
Yeah, well, we can go with 15 or 23. And so as you worked with the iconic Michael Lamardian on some of your albums, and out of all the solo albums you did, which would you say would be your favorite album?
Well, my wife would say it would be My Redeemer. And I would agree to a lot of that. From a musical standpoint, I had a blast on my first couple solo albums. Those were just really fun.
Yeah.
Sold a ton of my first ones. So if you're just going off of numbers, but sold a lot of My Redeemer too, though. So, but I think the Lord really had his hand on My Redeemer. Obviously, it was all about my, my journey through with cancer that I had a long time ago. But
right.
Yeah. But those songs are powerful. People used to listen to it and pull off the freeway crying, and they didn't know why. And I would explain to them. I'd say, well, what song were you listening to? And I'd say, this is what I was going through then. And this is what God gave me when I wrote that song. And they're like, oh, well, no wonder. Yeah,
right.
That was always kind of fun.
Yeah. So in 1994, you were diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
And you struggled with that for how long? And you went through chemo treatment and all? And
I was very fortunate, caught it pretty early, had surgery. I did chemotherapy, did a bunch of follow-up for a couple of years, but they caught it, and I responded really well to the treatment, and everything turned out, I'm still here.
You're still here.
Yeah.
Cancer-free. That's wonderful. Yeah. That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah. And so some of the other things that in the ensuing years that you've done, because you haven't really cut a new album in a few years.
It's been a while. Last one I did was my Christmas album, and that was a while back.
Well, you've done the Upper Room a couple of times, and each time you've come there, it's been a wonderful, wonderful experience, and people come out of the woodwork to come and hear you and see you.
And the last it's been great.
And the last time we put a band together for you, and you got to do some of the Second Chapter stuff, and we're going to have to do that once this COVID thing passes. We're going to have to bring you out again and do that again.
Yeah, that'd be a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would, well, go ahead. Go ahead. I was going to say that the fun thing for me about being there the last time, and you mentioned we did a couple of Second Chapter tunes, and I did some of my older solo rock stuff that I don't normally do. Was that my sister Annie was there in the front row.
That's right.
And the poor girl that did Annie's part, I go, oh, Annie's going to be sitting right there, and she's all, but she did pretty good, So
right.
It was a kick in the pants to.
Well, she was there both times that you've been to the Upper Room.
Yeah.
First time her and Buck came. When you came, I think probably about 5 years ago, and then the second time she was out visiting a friend, just coincidentally. So she came out to hear you. And
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and I remember the little gal who was singing Annie's parts that we had up there was pretty intimidated by looking at Annie in the front row there.
That would do it, I would think.
Yeah, that would do it. But she did wonderful. And you guys put on quite a show. It was wonderful.
Yeah, she did a great job.
So when I went to pick you up at the airport the last time you were here, and you and Deanne got in the car, and I turned and said, well, how are you guys doing? And they said, well, all right. And I said, everything okay? And they said, well, you didn't hear. I said, no, what did I not hear? And you guys had just lost your daughter.
Yeah.
Megan.
Yeah.
And it was pretty fresh still.
Oh, yeah.
And do you want to talk about that at all, or is that somewhere you don't want to go?
Sure. No, that was. I can talk about that time specific if you would like to. That'd be okay.
Well, I think it's important and not important, but I think it's good because of what God's hand was upon your family and so forth, and the things you've learned out of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So she had passed away 2 months almost to the day, almost to when I was with you guys.
Yeah.
So, and that the concert I did that night was the first one that I did after she had passed away. And to say that I was in a really great, happy place, that would have not been true.
Right.
But I felt good about doing it. I had already turned down a couple things, but I felt like it was time to do that. And I think what I shared that night was really good. You can see it on YouTube. I've watched it.
Yes.
It's pretty interesting to go back and look at it. But just
it was pretty raw. I mean, you were, when I mean it's raw, it was a good raw. You were bare before everybody, and yeah.
So that's been a real toughie for my wife and I've gone through a few other things too with some other stuff, having nothing to do with Megan at all. But I'm not going to go into it. But it's just been an interesting couple of years. I mean, I lost a brother in 2017. So it's been, and my wife just lost her brother. I don't know. It wasn't that long ago, a month ago or so.
Yeah.
So we've been going through some stuff, and it's interesting to try to weigh those things out in the light of what God does and doesn't do, and prayers He answers and doesn't answer.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's been a real eye opener for me. It's given me a lot of things to think about and hopefully write about. I haven't done that yet. I've been bad about that, but I need to start writing.
Are you going to do? So you're going to do some writing, and do you think you have another album in yet at any point?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. It's just a matter of getting it out,
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
My wife said, "Man, you're so chock full of stuff."
Yes.
What you need to get that out of there, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, especially from what you've gone through.
Yeah.
And writing from the pain and from the experience and so forth.
Yeah.
And I think there'd be some great stuff that would come out of that.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know the other thing that you and Deanne do is you support a ministry in Asia. And the last time I saw you guys had just gotten back from Asia. And tell us about the ministry you guys support there.
Well, my wife works for a gentleman in the Springs, and his daughter died in a car crash some 22 years ago. Mm-hmm. Her name was Brianna, and she had a real love for Asian people in general. And she always wanted to know, what can we do? What can we do? How can we help? So when she passed away, her dad started this thing called Brianna's House of Joy, and it's outside of where is it? What's the name of that town? Chiang Mai, outside of Chiang Mai.
Chiang Mai.
Yeah, and so they started a house for girls, and it's interesting because it's not just for girls that don't have parents. It's for girls that maybe their parents can't take care of them right now, or they're living with their grandparents, or they're, whatever the situation is, or they have an abusive dad, there's all kinds of scenarios. It's not just one thing, but they had probably 15, 20 girls there, and they're doing great academically. They're, they go to public school.
Yeah.
So it's not just, they're not just being enclosed in a Christian, thing and getting brainwashed or whatever, but they're experiencing life, and they seem like they're doing really, really great. They're all from different tribes.
Yeah.
So cool to see that. Their clothes they wear are all a little bit different. And,
yeah. Well, I know when you guys were talking to us about it, you were pretty energized about it, and it just seems like a wonderful, vital ministry that has a real impact. Yep. Hey, let's take some time and go to some questions and comments. And if you guys have more questions, please put them on right now. We got a lot of comments, but we try to get as many questions as we can in. Let's see here. I don't know if this is a question or a comment, but we'll put it up on from Katie Patterson. Hi, from Anaheim, California. Love second chapter of Acts, and especially Matthew Ward. Favorite male singer ever.
ever of all times.
Wow, very kind comment from
That is
Katie.
very sweet. Thank you.
Yeah. Let's see here. Got a new webcam. Is this one here? Okay, from my buddy DJ Randy Johnson. Hi, Matthew Ward. How are you and your sisters? Can you talk a little bit about making music with Phil Kagi? Thanks, from Joshua Tree, California.
Sure, yeah, Phil Kagi, man. Not only is he a monster guitar player, he's a great person, very humble,
Yeah,
sweet, knows the word. His wife's great. They have a great family.
they're very nice people.
But I've done a lot of music with him. You know, he played on a couple of second chapter tunes. He played on my first solo album.
Didn't you guys do a tour? How the West was one, WONE one?
Yeah, it was a live album.
Yeah,
with Phil.
yeah.
How the West Was Won with a band called David.
With the band called David. I never got that. You guys were the band called David?
No, our band was.
Oh, your band was called David.
We were called the Second Chapter Backs with a band.
Okay, I think I knew that, but I never quite got the whole band called David thing. Okay.
Yeah, well, I know.
Was that Phil's band or was it your band?
What's that?
Was the band called David? Was that Phil's band or Second Chapter's band?
That was our band. Second Chapter.
Yeah. And you guys traveled with a full band.
We
You
did.
had quite a production that you put together.
We had, at one point, I think we had 15 people on the road.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some logistics and some expenses and
unbelievably expensive. People have no idea. I don't talk about it, but it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
We didn't get rich doing it, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I know very few did, and the love to doing it for the love of Christ,
Yeah.
We're going to bring a question here from Darlene Felix. Hey, how did you three manage staying together for so long as a group and keep the family dynamics at the same time? From Darlene Felix.
I don't know, man. That's a good one. How did we do that? No, I think because I think we just got along pretty well. Yeah, we had our moments when we disagreed about it, but I think we loved what we were doing so much and knew that it was what we felt like the Lord was calling us to do. That all the other stuff was minimal.
I'm sure you had your moments out there, like you said.
Believe you me.
Yeah.
But nothing we couldn't kind of walk through, and the Lord was there walking us through stuff. So loads of fun.
Absolutely. I'm going to bring one up from Don Billings. Your album Toward Eternity is still one of my favorite albums of all time and a true masterpiece. I was wondering if you might share a little bit of how it came together. Have been a huge fan of yours since those days. Deeply grateful for your influence. Thanks, from a fellow cancer survivor. That's from Don Billings.
Well, Don, when I first started that album, Michael O'Mardian was producing it. Nobody really knows that because that's not on the record anywhere, because he did a couple of tracks and then he pulled me aside one day and said, I don't think you're old enough to do an album.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, okay.
How old were you at the time?
When we started, I was about 17. It would have come out when I was 18, but it didn't come out until I was 19 or 20 even, something like that. But so Buck and I finally one day got tired of waiting for Michael, and I said, let's just do it. So I had Buck produce it, and I had a lot to do with the album as well, but he got the credit for production, and we just did it because we felt it was time to do it. And I'm so glad we did.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I'm going to bring one up from Julie Stephenson here. How are your sisters doing?
They're doing really pretty good. I haven't seen Annie in a few months, but she's doing okay. Nellie, we just had dinner. My wife and I had her and her husband over for dinner. What was that, night before last, I think.
Yeah, they live close by to you there. And
they live literally a mile and a half from my house.
Yeah, and then Buck and Annie live in a different part of Colorado, right?
They live it's a 7-hour drive.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's 7 hours, really?
7-hour drive, and you're still in Colorado, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like,
yeah.
Around the mountains, and through them.
Yeah, over the rivers and through the woods.
2 grandmothers.
Yeah. Getting a lot of comments about what an amazing voice you have. See, Donna Jones says, you are my favorite male singer of all times. Only other one I love is Bocelli,
Yeah.
Andre Bocelli.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bocelli's got nothing on you.
I'm just gonna. I like his voice.
No, I do too. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Uh-huh.
Okay, this one's from Ian Hayden. Matthew, are there any more rare second chapter recordings besides the early test pressings? From Ian Hayden.
Actually, if you notice, it's test pressing, singular.
Test pressing.
Yeah. And that's important because I have the only MGM test pressing in existence of that early project I was telling you about.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. There's 3 or 4 songs on there that people have never heard.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
My brother sings lead on one of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's fun. No, there's not really any other like real collectible weird things like that I can think of that second chapter did. But that's something.
Yeah.
It was really cool. I need to get it digitized.
Yeah.
Clean it up.
Now, Donna Jones also asked another question. And this is something I wanted to talk to you about too. Is what was it like? What was Keith Green like in person? You guys moved to
East Texas, yeah.
East Texas, and was it with Last Days Ministries with Keith, or did you just end up at the same place?
We ended up at this. He moved there first. We helped him out. I helped him. We helped him get some land out there, and he built his thing out there. He had 500 acres. And there was 100 acres next to him. We were thinking about moving somewhere else in LA and buying like 10 acres and doing this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
We realized for the same price, we could buy 100 acres out there and do all this other stuff. So we thought, well, maybe we should do that. It'll be centrally located for touring, Yeah. It made a lot of sense. No state tax.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So we bought the 100 acres after Keith had been there for a little, just a bit of time, not too long.
Did you get involved in the Last Days Ministries when you were there, or was it just kind of a neighboring thing? And
it was just for me. I know I stayed away from there. I mean, I love Keith to death.
Yeah, sure.
Keith was great. We didn't see eye to eye on quite a bit of things, and he loved to argue, and so did I. So we would just argue about stuff all the time. And
I heard he loved to debate. He
did. He loved it, and he's very good at it.
Yeah.
But I love Keith. We had a good relationship. We did stuff together. Before he moved to Texas, he had a place in California, a couple of houses. His ministry was going.
Yeah, I remember that out in the San Fernando Valley somewhere, right? Wasn't it out there?
Well, yeah, it was near there.
Yeah.
Can't think of it. Sherman Oaks or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly where it was. But I used to go spend the night over there at his house, and we'd get up and try to write, and we just never could write together. We were just
right.
It just didn't work. It was like
yeah.
But I always enjoyed Keith. I always told people that Keith was a bit of a bull in a china shop.
Was he as intense in person on a one-to-one basis as he was on stage? Really?
All the time.
Really?
I said, Keith, you got to hear this group, this band, the secular group they're called Men at Work came out that year.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, man, you got to hear these people, Keith. They're awesome. And he goes, brother, only the Lord is awesome. Like that kind of stuff. I'm like,
yeah,
no, okay, but it was just that kind of stuff that made me crazy.
Yeah, he's the real deal, wasn't he?
You are correct. He was definitely a zealot. He's very faith was strong, and he believed his certain way, and there you go.
Yeah. Were you on the property when the plane went down? And do you recall what happened there? I mean, you know what happened there, but I mean, do you? Because it happened right off of his property there, right at the property line or something. And
this at the end of his runway. The place where my wife and I were living at the time was literally, I would say, 300-400 yards from where the plane went down. But we were not there at the time. We were doing some inner city. New York ministry, inner city work in New York with David Wilkerson.
Yeah.
And that was intense, man. And we got the word that, Keith, Yeah.
It
was terrible. I went out to the crash site, and I have a light from the plane.
Really?
Yeah. It's all the glass is all crystallized.
Wow.
I still have it.
Yeah, terrible tragedy. The entire Smalley family was killed in that, and then Keith, along with two of his children.
Two of his children, yeah.
Two of his children. Yeah. Yeah.
Cute little kids too. Josiah was unbelievably cute. Just ringlets. I mean, just absolute doll.
Yeah, that event really put a shudder into the Christian community. I remember when that happened. It was quite profound. Yeah.
Yeah.
Christy Brown is asking you a personal question. Tell us when you cut off all your long hair for the first time. Well, yeah, you used to have that long, straight
I did.
hair.
And then I started wearing it in a ponytail.
Yeah.
Then I started driving my Jeep with the top down, and I got tired of it getting tangled all the time.
Yeah.
So finally, I had a friend of mine who cuts hair came over, and I said, "Just cut it off." I tied it back. I said, "Just cut it above the thing." And you probably saw it at my house, dude. If you probably didn't know what you were looking at, but
I probably didn't.
But to the left of our refrigerator, there's that little alcove with the cork board.
Yeah.
It has all that cork there.
Yeah.
My ponytail is stuck on that cork board still.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that was probably, I'm going to say, close to 20 years ago now.
I think I saw your wife dusting with it.
Yes. Yeah, it's more effective than a feather duster.
So about 20 years ago, you cut it off.
Probably something like that, 18.
Yeah.
It's really funny because my hair was like really light brown. There wasn't any gray in the ponytail. There's no gray.
Is that right?
Now it's all gray. It's like,
wow. Well, you had blonde hair, as I recall, when you were.
Well, yeah, but it started turning, more browny, light brown when I got a little bit older.
Sure.
I was a towhead, man. I had gee whiz, blonde hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
White hair, yeah.
All right, let me see. I'm going to read something here from Winifred Krause. It's a long one. Let's see here. Matthew, don't know if you remember coming to New Mexico. My husband, Kevin, and I approached KYLT in Albuquerque, New Mexico, about bringing Christian concerts into the city. They had been waiting and praying for someone to express interest. Second chapter of Acts was the first Christian concert at Pope Joy Hall, University of New Mexico. Your group ate homemade cooking at our married students housing group building. What a blessing you were to our city and state. Kevin still remembers Buck giving him a hug and telling, let's see, it cuts off there. Let me see. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, do you remember that one?
Was it Mexican food? There, because I think
it doesn't say. It cuts off there.
Yeah.
Let me see if there's I can't find the end of it there. But yeah, anyway.
We had some great meals backstage. I don't remember that particular venue, but
But you ate a lot of homemade food out on the road.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of it was good.
Yeah. Here's from our dear friend. Well, Kathy Mullins Batstone, Billy Batstone's wife.
Oh, okay.
Hi guys, Tommy Coombs and Billy Batstone are watching from our backyard. Hey guys, how you doing?
I hope we're doing okay.
Yeah, okay.
You guys, you're still working on that video, right? Or is it done yet?
Yes, we are still working on the love song. It's and I'll take a second to plug it if it's okay. I can take your time, but we've been working for 3 years, almost 3 years now, on a documentary on the group Love Song, and we went from a live concert and then we kind of backed into doing a documentary. And Tommy Coombs, Chuck Girard, myself, Jay Truax we've been working on it, and we're going to be doing some other tweaks because we did a couple of private screenings with about 100 different people, and we asked questions and got some feedback, and so we're doing some changes that makes it a little bit more rockumentary in nature, if you will, and a little less of the live concert footage, but we're still going to have some of that in there. Cool. And a lot of great people contributed to it, and it's going to be a wonderful thing. And we'll go to the upperroompresents.com, and we're going to be starting to post stuff on that and promoting it. But we're hoping to get it out hopefully by mid this year. And I stopped talking about it because I kept saying it's going to come out, and people when, and I kept missing the date. So we'll watch for that. Okay, we're coming into our waning moments here. Let me just see if there's any more questions. I didn't read the comments, but thank you for the comments. Let's see. Some of these I don't read until I get in. Okay, Melissa Claire Weiss Second chapter of Acts impacted my faith and discipled me. No other music has ever touched me as much. Wow, big statement. I always expected you to have a comeback. Does Annie still receive songs? Won't there be any more music? I miss you bad.
Yeah. Well, no, I think we're pretty much done. I think Annie still gets songs.
Yeah.
She's still writing, but she's kind of hung it up. She's not singing anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the actual group is done. I'm still going to do some stuff.
Yeah.
Nellie kind of got out of music when we quit in '88.
Yeah.
That just wasn't her big first love,
Yeah.
So, but I still love it. And I think Annie's, reeled in the horse.
Yeah. Okay, there's another question asked about Annie. We already talked about that. Let's see. This is from Dallas Pebbles. I heard you live. Oh, I heard you live.
I heard you live.
I heard you live. I heard you live April '87 at church on the way. First row. Won't ever forget that night. So anointed. Wow. Yeah. What an impact you made on Dallas there.
Yeah. Yeah, we did a few concerts there at church on the way. That was our church when we lived in LA. We went there from about 71 to 80 when we moved to Texas.
Yeah.
Whenever we were back in town, we tried to do stuff there. So
yeah.
And almost all of our band members came from that church. Very few exceptions.
Oh, yeah. You guys were pretty close proximity there, right?
Yeah.
This one's from my friend Tony, and I'm sorry, Tony, if I can never know if your last name is pronounced Wisner or Wisner.
Wisner.
But a lovely gal. Let's see. Hi, Matthew. Big fan of yours. Do you keep your singing voice conditioned and strong by doing vocal exercises, or are you able to sing without needing to do vocal exercises? Good question.
No. If I'm going to do a concert, if it's on the books, I will sing to tracks or whatever. I'll go down into my music room and I will sing all out.
Yeah.
For an hour a day for 5 days straight.
Really?
Yep. And then I go out and do a concert. That's generally what I do. If I don't, I pay for it.
Yeah.
Because I'm older and my voice just won't hold up. But if I'm disciplined and do that, which I try to, because I know what happens if I don't.
Right.
It really seems to help. So yes, I do vocal exercises, but not only until I need to.
Yeah. This one is from Mandy League. Mandy's a friend of mine, her and her husband. Hello, Matthew Ward from our cattle ranch in Texas.
Nice.
Do you have a Keith story? I guess we've already talked about a Keith story. Thank you so very much for your amazing ministry, from Mandy. Katie Patterson, in regards to being a cancer survivor, is there anything you can share? I'm 2-year survivor of breast cancer, and I'm still terrified at times as I go to rechecks every 4 months. I love the Lord, trust him, but I'm nervous, Nellie. I'm a nervous Nellie at times about the ongoing days.
Yeah, you know what?
That's something all cancer survivors.
I mean, I went through that. I went down once a month and did CAT scans and follow-ups. Then it went every 4 months. Then it went every 6 months, and then once a year.
Yeah.
Once it went to once a year, I just quit doing it. I said, kill me now, whatever.
Yeah.
But I remember the first few years going, oh, gee, I wonder if it's back. I wonder if this is going to be the time that I know my last report was good.
Yeah.
You never know,
Yeah, I guess that's always kind of in the back.
How do you deal with that? Everybody has to deal with that differently. I think it just depends on where you're at with the Lord.
Yeah.
When I found out I had cancer, people would say, aren't you scared? My sister-in-law, one of my sister-in-laws said, if I found out I had cancer, I'd be rolling around on the floor in Jell-O. I mean, I couldn't even deal with it.
Yeah.
I said, well, I mean, I guess that's one way to approach it. My thing is, why should I be exempt from things?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't do anything so great that I should.
Yeah, but by the grace of God go I.
Amen.
Right?
Amen. And you know what? You just have to take it day by day, sister.
Yeah.
And the Lord loves you, man. So he's got plans for you. I don't think you need to worry about what's going to happen next week.
Yeah.
You can't do a thing about it anyway.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true.
Worrying doesn't add a day to our lives.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just trust him.
You got to trust them. And that those are easy words to say. There's no answer to that. You can't go, well, if you read 1 Corinthians chapter 4 times a day and you face the, no, I mean, there's no pat thing, but God, are we out of time?
We're actually hit our hour mark, but I think, are we okay to go a little bit longer? Is that okay? We'll go a little bit longer here. Is that okay with you, Matt?
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Okay. Here's one from our buddy Tommy Coombs. I may have missed it, but how did the duet with Donna Summers happen? Spoke loud and clear to those who didn't know about Christ.
How did that happen? Well, back to Michael Lamardian.
Yeah.
He said I was too young to. He called me one day and said, "Hey, do you want to work on this project?" And I went, "Why in the world wouldn't I? I mean, that sounds like a blast, Yeah. So Martin was producing it. That's how I got in the door on that one. He just hired me, and I sang my hat off. I think those are some of my best vocals. I had a blast doing that project. I worked on probably 5 different songs on that album. Did all the backgrounds on one song. Did the duet with her, and then sang backgrounds on several other ones too. I just had so much fun working on that. She Works Hard for the Money was the name of the album.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Here's one from my buddy John. Go ahead.
I did remember one thing. Donna heard me sing at church on the way once.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, and she was like, "Well, holy cow."
Was Donna a believer?
She was a believer in the Christ, yes.
Yes. Wow. So she heard you at church on the way, and
yeah.
John Foss, a good buddy of mine, loved that song, Mansion Builder. What inspired this song?
Aunt, my sister wrote that. I wasn't in the room when she wrote that song, but I don't remember if she ever told me what inspired that song. That's a good question for her. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't have an answer to that. I don't know what inspired it.
Okay. We're going to try to get to the last few questions here. Question: do you still have a Zion guitar from Teresa Billings?
Yes, I do. I still have. I had it built for me in 1981 or 2. And what was his name? Ken?
The question that was from Teresa Billings.
Okay, Teresa. Yeah, I still have the guitar. It's in awesome shape.
Do you want to sell it?
Well, I put it on one of those lists years ago, and somebody said, "Did Ken Hoover build it?" And I said, "Yeah." "Oh, I don't want that one then." And he's
really?
It's his company. It was like,
yeah, but did they know it was a Matt Ballard? I mean, Matt Ballard.
Yeah, Matt Ballard.
Matt Ward song.
Matt Ballard.
After 8 o'clock, after an hour, my brain just goes. So a Matthew Ward guitar.
It's beautiful. Dude, I'll send you some pictures of it.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. Yeah.
Not right now, because we're,
Yeah.
But it's wonderful. It's a beautiful guitar. Yes, I still have it.
Okay. John Waller, you mentioned the unreleased second chapter of Acts songs. Do you also have unreleased solo recordings?
Technically, they've gotten out, but they were never actually released. Well, not really, no. I don't think I have anything that's not released. Well, did we ever release the thing I did with the For Him guy? The hymn. I did a hymn years ago that you should hear. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
I'd love to.
It's unbelievable. And I never put it out. It is well. I did a version of it as well. And it's unbelievable. Oh, it's just incredible. It is. It's amazing. Yeah. That would be about the only one I think that I've done that people haven't heard.
Yeah. And then one last question here we got from Pamela Redica. I don't know how to pronounce it. Do you sing at your church?
I did. I have. I haven't in a long time. It's funny how things evolve a lot of times, and who they want on stage and who they don't. But yeah, I did some singing with the church some years ago, and had fun doing it. I don't mind doing that kind of stuff. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, Matt, thank you for taking this time tonight. I like to end these segments with, you never know who's watching out there, who may or may not be a believer, and give them an invitation that Jesus loves them.
Yeah.
And God's got a plan for your life. And what would you say to those people?
Well, I would say to those who have debated Christianity with friends and whatnot.
Yeah.
There's the other side, that people that don't really know anything about it, but they're just curious. I can tell you from my own experience, people always say, well, how do you know God is real? Because I have physically felt
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
I've physically seen him do things. I have prayed specific prayers down to the number that have been answered. Those things are not, it's too bizarre, too far out there to be chance, or like, good positive thinking. Well, we have that within us to,
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I believe in a God that lives, a God that breathes, a God that listens to us and cares about us.
Mm-hmm.
And I would encourage anyone who is they feel lost right now. They feel just lost, like they just don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Pray for them in the name of Jesus.
Yes. Amen.
Lord,
Amen.
I pray that the Holy Spirit would fall right now on those people that are just crying out, asking for direction, asking for some sort of clarity about what's going on in their lives. Lord, I pray that you would bring people into their lives that could speak life into them, and just show them that you're alive, and help these people I'm praying for come to a saving knowledge, a saving grace of who Jesus Christ is and why he came. It's so important that we can walk in freedom. We can say, God, set me free. I want to know who you are, and he will not hold back. Thank you.
Amen. Yes, indeed. And if that was you that prayed that prayer tonight, please let us know. You could send your comments and prayer requests. Comments at the Upper Room Presents. That's comments at the Upper Room Presents. And we'd love to talk to you if you've made that step of faith tonight, or if you just have comments about tonight's broadcast. We'd love to hear from you. Matt, thank you so much. Love seeing you, buddy.
Yeah.
And give Deanne a big hug for me, and look forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just do a little bit of next week. We have week from tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. We're going to have singer-songwriter, producer, multiple Dove Award winner Don Moen's going to be our guest, and Don's a wonderful guy. Week following that, we're going to have singer, actress, and a lot of other things, national speaker, Michelle Pilar. So we've got some good stuff coming up. Yeah. And by the way,
tell them both hi for me.
I'm sorry?
Tell them both hi for me.
I will. Michelle asked me about you the other day and said, I'd love to talk to Matt. So, yeah. Well, buddy, thank you so much. And folks, thanks for listening. We're going to just kind of roll out with our credits here and our new cool bumper music from Chuck Girard's song, Fresh Bread, Cool Water. And Matt, thanks. God bless you all, and take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.